Yes. Okay, so let's continue now.
What do you think now you're speaking?
No, it's
But we
it's,
can
as we
take
know,
it.
promoting.
What do you- Yes, so
All right, so your preliminary interview, you never go to ask a question that could be answered with yes or no, because this is the easiest. It's a one syllable that people can force themselves, get over the mental attention so they can lie to you about. So you always ask them a question like, tell me everything you know. What do you know about this? You know, open-ended questions, nothing more. And then when you receive the statement, comes the second part. Then you analyze the statement and then you go into the analytic interview. Now, the analytic interview is based on the statements that the subject made. So if the subject introduced a word that you want to question them about, you're going to use it there in the analytic interview. And afterwards, after you're done with these two parts, then you're going to make your conclusion. Is this person being deceptive? Is this person hiding information? What kind of information is there? Are they hiding and everything like that? Typically, they give us a few questions to answer. Is this person deceptive? Did he kill that other person? You know, whatever the case. So you have to answer those, right? This is basically how your procedure is going. And the reason why this is very often more effective than the polygraph. You guys know the polygraph, right? Where they hook you up with like certain wires and, you know, they take your blood pressure, then they ask you questions. Somebody in our field called this the linguistic polygraph, because the truth is that you don't need to be hooked up to anything. You can produce a statement from anywhere. I can ask you to write a statement at home, send it to me. I can analyze it regardless. And it does show you specific things, right? I can tell you where you hid information, about what you hid information, about what you were deceptive. And with the polygraph, they just, you know, they will illustrate tension. But I could be tense about a lot of things. I've had a person one time, I'm interviewing her, and then my colleagues take her to the polygraph, and this person looks so absolutely distraught. It turns out that she left her old mother at home with the baby, and now she's worried, like, how long is this gonna take, you know? So she's like really, really very anxious, and it's normal. So that's why, in these cases, you on the polygraph, the only thing you can say is I saw tension, you know, on this question. But was this person even thinking about this question when they answered it? We have no idea. When it comes to statement analysis, unless you are sitting there to dictate, like write this down, which has happened before, it's called contamination. Unless somebody's contaminating your statement, you'll be able to find out what really happened with a very, very great percentage of certainty, right? Now, this is very interesting because I was talking my seminars about lying. A lot of people are like, oh yeah, lying is bad. And I decided that today I'm going to end up on a moral note to say lying is bad. But lying is also a social tool. People lie between, let me see what I have here, statistics 10 to 200 times a day. All right? We all lie, it happens. And the lie doesn't have to be something huge, something harmful. Sometimes it's very benign. Like you're having a crappy day and somebody sees you on the street, how you doing? Oh, fine, fine, yeah, everything is cool. That is a lie, right? So I think it's very important, and especially maybe for future lawyers, it's important that they know the types of lie. There's many types of lie. So the first one is, of course, error. We all make it. We've received some bad information somewhere and we transmit it to another person. They're like, oh, this is not true. You're lying to me. This is a lie of error. It happens, right? Then we have omission, something we very often engage into. Yeah, I was at the shop. Okay, but you were missing for like 4 hours. Yeah, but then like I afterwards went to the bar too, right? But at preliminary, you missed this information. This is the omission. This is what we do most of the time. Now we have restructuring, which is basically when you go to modify the events, not too much, but just enough so they can fit your whatever lie you're trying to make, right? Denial. Ask any kid, did you take the cookie? No. No, was not me. Why would it be me? That's my son always. I swear to God, it is not me. All right. Now we have minimization.
What does it mean in your case? Minimalization.
Well, I'll give you a very good example, Mary, with the children.
Yes.
They both fight. My daughter starts screaming. My son comes, I just barely touched her. I barely touched her. Right? Right. And now, of course, we have exaggeration, which is her now coming. And she's like, he killed me. He killed me. I cannot move my arm. So you will see this type of lies all the time. What is very rare is fabrication. Now, fabrication is less than 10%. And this is really what we're looking for in criminal cases, in very serious criminal cases, because typically, in order for you to go and produce a lie, you have to overcome your working memory's capacity to recall an event. You have to stop this process. You have to insert in the lie you're going to be transmitting, and then transmit it to the other person. That's very taxing, very, very taxing to your brain. So this is why when you start, composing this mumbo jumbo of, new version, it's very easy for people to see you're freaking lying, right? And fabrication, typically, if a person does not have a substantial physiological response when fabricating, that's probably a pathological liar or a psychopath, typically, right? Because they're the ones that they don't care. They're gonna lie to you. They're gonna chop you up into pieces. They don't care, right? This is the type of people that typically engage into 10%. Most people, we like to do it. We like to be on the safe side, right? Say some of the truth, but not the whole truth. And this is how we lie. So now I'm going to present to you two components of statement analysis, right? Before that, I'm going to advise you guys, if you ever learn this, never analyze your close people. You're not gonna have close people, okay? This is not, I have so many seminars and then people are like, oh, you know what? My wife yesterday lied to me. I was like, don't do that. Try to stay married, please. And another thing is, it's kind of like, like a little personal advice. If you guys decide to be criminal psychologists, basically what they do is they pay attention on the nonverbal communication, which is, the way somebody sits, micro expressions and whatnot. Do not be a linguist. Choose one or the other, because if you're listening, if you're watching, you're not listening. If you're listening, you're not watching. You can do both. I mean, if you're that talented, go ahead and do it. But typically, I cannot do both. So I chose, just linguistics and just a little tiny breather here before we continue with the components. I was at a seminar recently, and I was told, because I was working for, I was hired by the security unit in a bank. So I'm going there. I know their boss. We're talking. We're having coffee. I'm like, all right, good. Let's go and let's do it. But I'm used to doing my seminars the way I'm doing them for, people who are detectives, criminal psychologists, pathologists, and everything. So I have like all the crimes, all the graphic photos and everything like that. And at one point I'm doing, whatever I'm doing here on the whiteboard, showing whatever I'm showing. And I see my phone is like going, is lit up. And then I'm like, I'm not gonna pay attention. That's probably my kid. I'm gonna call him after. And then I see it again lit up, and my friend who was across the street, he's like, do not continue with that. Just look around. And I then look around and see that people are crying. They were all crying. And I was like, oh my God. All right, let's take a coffee break then. It's because they're bankers, they're not in this field. Anyways, we start with the stuttering I. Yeah, can you guys hear? Yeah, stuttering I. So basically,
I mean, repeating, I did, so what do
Yes,
you mean?
exactly. This is the stuttering I. Typically, when you see that, hear that in a speech, you know that there is tension in this person's, whatever this person is going to say next, it's going to be very likely an untruthful event, right? Or it's going to be a very important for them event. So it's going to sound something like, let me just see if I can recall. There's something from my practice. Okay. It's very often I see this. I don't know what happened, right? Now typically if the person is not stuttering, because this is a condition that they could have it. If a person is not stuttering, and when you hear that, prepare almost 80% that a lie is coming. They do know what happened, right? And this is why they're getting this linguistic response. It's a neurolinguistic response of the stuttering I. Because you see, pronouns are amongst the first, if not the first, parts of the language we learn. Ever since I think it's between the age of 1 and 1.5, we already have acquired, like me, my mommy, my ball, especially possessive pronouns, and then further on pronouns, because children are narcissistic and they need to be, otherwise they cannot sustain. So that's why pronouns are we never think like, should I use I or you or they? We just use them very intuitively. It's very quick. It's parts of the nanosecond. I don't even know what that is as time. Very, very short amount of time for us to produce speech. So every time you hear this stuttering I, you have to be aware that the next thing that comes is either going to be deception or something very, very sensitive. Another one that I prepared here, and this is very interesting because I think last week I was giving consultation on a case in the UK where there's this guy who is going to go to jail for murder, and at some point what they're going to do, they're going to make you do in jail, in court, is they're going to make you write a statement of apology to the victim, or in this case, to the victim's family. It's very interesting because this statement then gets forwarded to a forensic linguist, and they review it, and they're going to say, yeah, it's a truthful apology or not. And based on that, they're going to either add years to your sentence or not, which is, and of course, many lawyers nowadays actually do learn how a good apology is produced, and they say, this is what you have to say to your client, to the clients. But every time you hear the word but, right, it's going to be typically somewhere in the middle of the sentence. You ignore what was before it and you pay attention what was after it, because this is the real substance of what the person is trying to say, right? For example, something I hear very often: sorry, I was late for a meeting, but last time you got late here, right? So basically the person is not producing any truthful account of apology. They're not saying, look, I'm sorry, I'm taking responsibility for what I did. They're saying, look, you were late last time, but I have to just now say sorry because otherwise our relationship is going to go sour. So this is another component that we're looking for. But every time we see this, it's just like the first one, just cross it out. You don't care about it, and look what's happening at the back, right? Okay, well, I don't know if I was not taking too much of this time. This is basically what I prepared. Do you guys have any questions?
Yeah.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Did you start studying?
Where
What
did you
kind of
study?
education do you need?
Oh, right. Oh, right. Well, I'm first and foremost a linguist. That was my first degree. And then I decided, let me go and combine two things I like, because I like crimes and then I like language. What better to do than become a forensic a linguist? So I finished my first degree here at Southwest University, then the second degree in forensic linguistics in the UK, and the third in the US with my instructor. And right now, we are a group of analysts from all over the world, working with this guy who's extremely talented, this FBI agent. And we're working on cases. I think the latest case was a missing child. I think it was from yesterday. I'm not sure, yesterday or the day before, was a missing child in the UK, 4-year-old AJ, went wandering off, at least so says his mother. And what we do is we actually look at the tape when a person is asking for help, because we also do 911 calls and everything like that. And we're able to discern, okay, this is like this mother is clean, try to assist her, or no, look into this person is like something's shady about them, right? So this is, you cannot get this kind of education in Bulgaria. Sadly, I'm the only person here who does that. So everywhere I go is people like,
impressive.
oh, thank you. Well, the motivation is that it's very sad Bulgaria cannot take use of this kind of a discipline that people have been using for many, many years in other countries. So this is what I'm trying to do here, and not to mention, to maybe end some not so perfect practices, like hitting somebody with the phone book in order to get them to say something. That's not necessary. It's definitely not. It's a violation of human rights. You don't want to do that, because then she'll become a lawyer and she's gonna sue the whole, police station. So, yeah, this is where I got trained. It was such a long answer for such a short thing requested.
Were you a full-time student or let's say distant, remote student? How did you finish?
I had to do full-time, and then I also did online because of where I live.
Mhm.
It was
How
not
long
fun.
is it? How long does it take to get to?
Let me see. Okay, it took me a total of 4 years.
Okay.
And they also have practices. You have practice time that you have to do. 4 years, maybe 2 or 3 months, something like that.
And can you do it if you're not a linguist?
Well, typically you have to have some qualifications, because otherwise, anybody in court will be able to say, like, show me your qualifications. That's what they typically ask when I'm an expert or witness on something. And if you're not able to show qualifications that will match your specialty, then they can dismiss it. I mean, you can do it, but they'll just dismiss it, so you're not going to help anyways. So it's good to be a linguist. It's good to be able to show you have knowledge, extensive knowledge in one or more languages, and then to build on that. Yeah.
What the languages do you know?
I used to know French. Who here knew French?
Yeah, right.
Right. Merci beaucoup. Right. That's about it. And some very, very. I used to be very good at French. I just don't know how it evaporated from my head. It was freaking crazy. But it was there at some point. And then when I went to the university, I was like, you know what? I've studied French for 10 years. Let me do something new. Let me do Russian. It's easy.
That's what everybody thinks when they start Russian.
It's easy. Well, it's not easy. Okay, it is not easy. Just looks easy because we can understand it, but it was extremely, extremely hard. So basically, I know English, I know French, enough to ask for a croissant somewhere. Russian, enough to get a beating there. Latin, enough to like get tattoos. And that's about it. But I think everybody studies Latin, right?
Yeah, that's
Everybody
cool.
in the-
Like university, in the,
Yeah.
in the undergraduate.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah.
What's the worst case you got?
Well, that's a hard one. Now there is a
You
competition.
mean the most difficult one, or the
Yeah,
the
those
the
serious
most
one, like,
challenging for me one?
the most horrifying one.
Right, the most horrifying one. Well, I think by presumption, because I'm a mother, cases involving children are always the hardest. I don't know if you guys want to hear the, the actual case, but there was this one mother who murdered her child in a very vicious way. And then she rang 911 to ask for help for a child she knew was dead. Then she claimed that the ambulance came later, and that's why the child died. So it was up to us to really go and review this whole situation and say, look, she's lying. She murdered this child. And there's, of course, many indicators with a team of 30 people that go and make an assessment. You never make an assessment just by yourself, because there is a huge chance you make a mistake. You're just one person, right? And that's one of them, but there's many. There's no shortage of crimes, I can guarantee you. If you go into this, you'll be full-time engaged into this whole thing. So crime is going to become your everyday life and hobby.
How do you cope with that?
Um,
Seeing the dirtiest.
Yeah, I don't know. Many people have asked me this. I think at this point, I'm so narrowed down on solving the case, on doing my work, that I'm not really like somebody got chopped in a suitcase, somebody like, this is just details, right? I'm just focused on what I have to do. Is this person, showing deception? Is this person, there was this one woman, actually very recently in Mexico. She had her baby was missing. Her baby is still missing. But what she claimed to do is she took her baby. So the baby was, I think it was like a few months old, 7, 8 months old. So she takes it into this baby carrier into a park. Her other child is with her. So she's holding the baby, she's holding the other child. The other child is like, Mommy, I want to go to the bathroom. So they stop at a porta potty. She leaves the baby outside, so she claims, and then she goes with the older child inside. So she comes out and there's no baby. Right? And so, of course, where's my baby? Help me. And there's sketches of people who could take it. And after we did the analysis, it turns out that she actually sold her baby. The baby was never in the park. She sold it on the way to the park, and then she staged the whole thing. Right? It's yeah, it's a very interesting case. Yes, absolutely. We were able to discern this person did not go to this park with the intent, because she was saying, I'm going to meet my mother there, I'm going to give her the children something. No, it was no such thing. She sold the baby on the way because they were poor. They had 2 children, very young people, 19 and 20, with 2 kids already. Mexico. I'm not trying to be racist here, but not good options for life there. And this is your job. It's really rewarding when you find out what actually happened. Not rewarding, to know what happened with the victim, but there's always gonna be crime and bad people.
How does it work in practice? Like, do you get the material sent to you? Do you go there? What do you do?
Well, it's on a case-to-case basis. Last week, for example, I was in Sofia because this is where I primarily work with people in Bulgaria, and I go to obtain my statements. If I can obtain my statement myself, I just do it because I trust myself more than I trust anybody else. I don't know what people are going to say, how they're going to act towards my subject, and I don't want contamination that I have to clean up for another day. So I would go there, I would obtain my statement, I would come back, analyze it. If there is if I cannot make a conclusion right on the preliminary interview, then I go for a second analytical interview. But we also engage into something that is Why am I, Mary, help me out here.
Why?
Why? Right. Discourse analysis. Discourse analysis is when you're making analysis on the fly, meaning as somebody's speaking, you're able to analyze what they're saying. You cannot do this like, you can't do 100% of the analysis, but you can do a good 70, 80%, which is enough. So when somebody's speaking, you know, just, you know, listen and just write down whatever made an impression on me. And then immediately I'm gonna go and ask them, which will be my right here, analytical, right, interview, that thing there. So that's very hard to actually be trained in. It does require countless hours of preparation, of training and everything like that, but it's worth it. It's definitely worth it. Yeah.
And share your list of experts that get called or how they work.
Yep, definitely. I'm currently on a few cases in Sofia. One was not so bad. It was kind of like a breath of fresh air, armed robbery. And the other ones are just murders. What are you gonna do?
So whenever they need linguist analysis,
Yes. Yeah,
go
absolutely.
to the list and choose one of them.
Yes. Absolutely. Well, I'm the one, so then
Yeah, I mean,
they just look at my head. They're like, all right, get this person. Right. I'm just the only one there. But yeah, this is definitely how it happens. And it's a good job. If you like crime, if you like language, if you're fascinated by language, just like I am, I think it's the greatest invention of humans. There's nothing bigger than language, because everything else it's not possible without language. If you want to learn math, it's not possible if there's no language. Free to exchange information, biology, and everything else, right? It's all because of language. And so that's why it's so amazing to me. I'm a descriptivist as a linguist, not a prescriptivist typically. So I enjoy it. I watch the way people use it, the way it's being modified, the way it's you know, adding new things. Some things are dropping off. So yeah, language is awesome.
Is it too difficult sometimes for those people
Is it too difficult to what?
to like solve the thing?
Yes, there is a lot of times when it's difficult, especially if you have not obtained your own statement and you're working off of somebody else's work, and you can see their linguistic fingerprint all throughout, and there is no way you can get in contact now with this other person to take a statement. Then it becomes difficult and frustrating. But apart from that, the only thing that's probably a little bit difficult for me is when we work with my team from the US, they typically work on their time, which is like 3 o'clock in their afternoon, which is like 7, 8 my time. So we like continue on throughout the night. The next day, Mary knows I have to bring in the kids here, and you're like always late and everything. So that's the difficult part, but not the crimes. Children are hard, not the crimes. That's a good pointer.
Is it stressful and kind of scary sometimes?
Is it stressful? It is. Sometimes it is stressful because typically what my team in Sofia is doing, like they did this morning, that like we have this person who committed suicide. Here is their note. Tell us this is a suicide, or should we apprehend somebody? I'm like getting my card cleaned. I'm like, oh, all right, let me double check like what is happening here. I was like, give me an hour, give me like an hour and a half. They'll go, all right, well, hurry up, because otherwise this person is going. And so this will be stressful. That is stressful, the lack of organization, but otherwise it's just job like anything else. It becomes second nature. Scary, I don't think it's really scary for forensic linguists, and I'll explain why. If you are a criminal psychologist, and I have a lot of colleagues that have shared that with me, and you go to deal with a criminal, right, especially a murder and everything like that, because of the intense contact you have, like you sit there, you interrogate them and everything, they remember your face, they remember your name, right? So there is always like this, like, is this person gonna wait for me somewhere? But with us, we just go there, you want coffee, you want water, here, write this down, and then we go. We don't care at this point what else they do. They typically don't really even know, they don't have the time to really even get to know us in terms of facial features because they're just writing. Or you just put on your tape recorder and you just ask them a few things, and you're very cooperative, you're very pleasant. This is the good thing about our job, because we appear pleasant. Maybe then you give them a conviction of like, this person is lying. But by that time, they had a good impression on you, right? So, yeah, it's an interesting field. I think that a lot of people, a lot of young people nowadays, especially talented young people, which is something very needed in Bulgaria, will go to reorient and get into this field. And this is what is needed. You're not going to change the system easily. Let me put it that so I don't discourage you. It's not going to be easy to change the system, but you can definitely make a huge difference. I can tell you that ever since I started working, there has been a lot of people consulting me on how to even conduct an interview, which is great, right? It's amazing, because I don't want to be like, I cannot take you off of the street just because you happen to be in this area where a crime occurred and just take you and beat the crap out of you at the police station and make you write something, and then you're going to be in court. Maybe in a month, everything is going to be dismissed. You know, we're going to say, okay, she's innocent, but you lost a month, a shitload of money, right? Your reputation possibly in front of everybody, and it's horrible. It's really horrible. So, you know, we always say, first and foremost, there is Martin Luther King. He has this amazing quote: injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere, right? And I do believe that if we follow a procedure that we believe is working, then there should be no reason why we go to deviate from this procedure. We should just follow it, because we'd like to be treated this way if something happens, right? Innocent until proven otherwise.
Miroslava, do you use criminal linguists in your job here in Petrich?
No.
No? Will that be useful for you to know, Alex?
It would be useful for everyone,
cooperate
everywhere.
with you? Yeah.
But when it comes to police departments nowadays, I don't think they will be like, I'm
Yeah,
not sure they will be able to use.
appreciative,
Yeah. No, they would be appreciative a lot. It's just that I would imagine they won't be able to afford her.
Oh, no. This is very interesting. We know we're not gonna get rich. That's very interesting. We took on the poor pet. It's actually very interesting, because me and my colleague, who is a specialist in nonverbal communication, and also a polygrapher, we are about to have a seminar here. And we just don't know when exactly, because we're speaking with the municipality, and I told him, I was like, it's stupid if I have to go to Sofia all the time, give seminars, when I'm actually located here, I'm positioned here, I can give you guys a seminar here.
Of course.
Like, let's just use the fact that I'm here. I traveled 2.5 hours to go and do it for other people. And they're like, okay, good, let's think about it. And probably there's gonna be police, probably there's gonna be, if you want to leave your contacts, no.
I will.
Yeah, and I'll write it down. It's very interesting. My colleague, he's an excellent professional. He's trained into Ackman's micro-expression system. And it's just, it's very, very interesting. When you combine them both, this is what we typically do. We'll sit on the table. The subject will be sitting in front of us. I'll be listening. He'll be watching. And we become a great team, right?
For sure.
Because then, you know, this is where you seize the moment and take all the information. So he's going to be bringing his own very interesting spin to language and behavior. And I'm going to be bringing the language. That's pretty much it. But I think it could be something very interesting for all the departments here. It's kind of like a pride thing that I want to go and teach the people around me first before I teach somebody else.
The problem with police is like the ones that have been around for a while, they think they know how to do things.
I know.
So they don't really, they're like, who is that? What is she going to tell us that we do?
Well, we have an actual plan for this. And I was speaking today to my bosses, like, look, like a very few people know me here.
Yeah,
and he's like, you know what? I'm just gonna come around because my boss is Todor Tudorov, the criminal psychologist. He's like, I'm just gonna come around. Everybody knows me, and they're gonna bring attention to you guys. So maybe he comes around. He talks about his hostage situation a few years ago when he saved these women. Yeah, if he comes around, it's gonna be quite interesting. On my seminars, there's always, something interesting as well as something funny as well as something very serious, because I do understand that this could be a little heavy for people. Just like I said, I make people cry. Okay, they were crying, and it's not. I could not say that I was like shocked, but I was like, ooh, well, like, why are they crying? Like, I'm not getting it because I'm not into this mindset of like understanding what people are feeling, or that's my colleague, not me. So there you go, guys. If you have any questions, ask away.
Interesting, isn't it?
It's really.
Yeah. I mean, you guys can use this for everyday life. Don't get me wrong. We communicate, and I always say to people, look, as long as you communicate with other people, you can use this knowledge in order to discern if somebody's telling you the truth, what is the sensitive information, especially when you talk online. I mean, how many creeps are out there?
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Especially for young women, right? I can only imagine. Like that's a must. That's a real must. And we're actually thinking about doing some digital education for young people, because many people fall in the hands of pedophiles, many children, pedophiles, sexual predators, you name it, they're all there. So that's basically me, and thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We really enjoyed listening to you because it's something new to me. What do you think? Yeah. Miroslava, what are the most common crimes in the area here?
In Europe here, probably burglaries. I gosh,
Burglary.
that's a very difficult word for me. So I would imagine something like that. Traffic accidents. There is not that like intense criminal situation around here, which is great.
Smuggling on the border.
Smuggling on the border all the time. Of
All the
course.
time. It's quite common.
No, I used to be police investigator for like 7 years, and then I went for a mission for 1.5 years abroad, and then I came back and became a head of this. It's called Contact Center and Border Cross-Border Cooperation. So it's like we facilitate the information flow between the Bulgarian and the Greek police when it comes to cross-border crimes. Meaning every time there is like person who is Bulgarian committing crime in Greece, or like victim that is Bulgarian and is in Greece, and they have some kind of information that they need from the Greek police, that's something that we facilitate.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, for both countries. It's not that interesting. It's not that exciting.
I'm sure that you guys have a lot of very interesting specificities, though.
So yeah, it's help. As long as we manage to help people.
Exactly.
We're happy with it.
Yeah.
So that's what I've been doing for like the last 5 years.
And how would you say, may I ask a question?
Yes.
Right. How would you say the communication between you guys and Greece is going? Like, is there any differences in procedures?
There are a lot of differences in procedures. So like we have to figure out a way for the things to work both ways. So normally the problem with the information that we exchange is only for operative needs, meaning that the police there on the spot, they can use it, but they cannot use it afterwards as some kind of like, in court. It's
right.
So they have to have like the official procedure afterwards. But it's good because we are the fastest and the easiest way to exchange information as fast as possible.
Wonderful.
So that's something that we do on a daily basis.
So do you get called like after hours, for example, like something's happened in Greece, we have a citizen there? Yeah. Wow.
We did information about like Bulgarian number plates. Something happened. We saw that car. Can you give us which one is? Did they already cross the border?
Right.
Is there like a Bulgarian citizen that owns this car? So yeah, since we have like access to all information databases, it's easy for both sides to check and react immediately, and then afterwards they will organize the whole procedure so that it can be used in court afterwards.
Right. And if somebody commits, let's say a Bulgarian citizen commits a crime in Greece, do the trial takes place in Greece or in
Yes, it
Bulgaria?
does.
Yeah.
It-
And so at no
it-
point does he return back to Bulgaria?
At some point,
At some-
probably.
What is released?
If he's not going to jail, probably he will. But yeah, if it's a Bulgarian citizen and the crime was committed in Greece, the whole procedure is going to take place in Greece.
Oh,
And
wow.
it's the other way around.
Oh, wow. So at which point does people get extradited, actually?
When it comes to very serious crimes, and when it comes to like, depending on how willing both countries are like to do that.
I
Because
see.
yeah, sometimes, you scratch my back, I scratch yours.
Exactly.
Like,
Tit for tat,
Yeah.
of course. Yeah, wow. Now I'm just asking because I was very interested. There was this case, I think from a few years ago, and it was a very gruesome case of a murdered child
mhm.
by a Bulgarian, presumably a Bulgarian father in
Mhm.
Greece, and people were enraged there. They were like screaming, yelling, trying to kill this person on the street, which is very normal. And I didn't find out, like, I couldn't understand where is he at? Is he in Greece or is he in Bulgaria?
He's probably in Greece.
Right.
He committed the crime in Greece and then the whole procedure is going to take place there.
Wow.
Probably there.
Wow, that's really interesting. I would assume that they would bring him back here and we're gonna take care of like our own, but
No,
yeah,
it's
right.
only there. Like, if
Wow.
you commit crimes there, that's why we have, and the thing is that we have a lot more like criminal offenders in Greece than they do in Bulgaria. And it's like, it's also an interesting thing that normally when it comes to like the offenders themselves, when it comes to like people that are committing crimes in Greece, there are more like robberies and like pickpocketing and like this, like not that serious crimes. When it comes to Greeks that are committing crimes in Bulgaria, they are more like I don't know, tax invasion crimes,
Well, of course.
like more serious crimes that are like harming our financial system. So it's like
Right.
different kind of offenders, both countries.
Wow, that's very interesting. It's
Where did
incredible,
you study
really.
for that?
Sorry,
Where did you study? for
I
that?
went to the police academy in Sofia.
Oh.
Yeah, and then I also graduated from law school, like in Southwestern, is it Southwestern?
Yeah, Southwestern,
University?
yep.
Yeah. I also graduated there afterwards, but since I was like, I graduated with, I had graduated police academy, I could just start working as investigator.
Right.
Maybe like long time, long time ago.
Wow, it's really incredible. How is it? I assume that you're one of the few women. I mean, since we're women here,
Yeah.
I think
So
we can.
beautiful, you're
Yeah.
clever, intelligent,
Yeah.
like James Bond, in a woman's shape.
James Bond.
Yes,
Yeah.
you know.
How is it? Yeah, in a male kind of a world.
I spent a year and a half in a monitoring mission in Georgia. It was a EU mission there.
Georgia is Georgia.
Yes, like not in the States.
Yes.
So I spent a year and a half there, and we had these like different kind of like presentations, like against violence and with police department and stuff like that. And I had a colleague of mine from UK that was like, since you're a woman in this like preliminary main field,
Right.
can you like give us any kind of examples when you were discriminated as a woman, when you had issues as a woman? And I had to think about that, and I realized I've been with police for 15 years now. I have never been discriminated as a woman. It's like,
Oh, wow.
when it comes to police in Bulgaria, the thing is that we have to have our, at least here, I work in the police station here, we have to have our, like, the things done. I don't care if you're a woman, if you're a child, if you're whatever. Since we have this case and we have to like solve it now, you have to do your job. We don't care what you are, we don't care like how old you are.
Right.
I have never had issues like, you're a woman, you cannot do this.
Right.
You're a woman, you cannot do that, you cannot go there or whatever. I started my first day, they came with me to me with like, I think it was 70 old cases. They're like, here's your cases, here's your roster, welcome, and we started working. I have never been discriminated as a police officer, so.
Wow, wow. I mean, I do believe that a lot of men here would have like a very respectful, they really like to have a woman on the job.
Definitely.
It's not good to just have men.
course.
Yeah,
Plus,
and so they like take care of her really.
Plus,
They have a very
Miroslava has a
different
good
perspective.
sense of humor, and I think this is
And
the
that
reason
helps.
why most men welcome her to
Of
their
course.
companies.
Oh,
Because they tease one another most of the time, and it makes
Yeah.
the job more interesting. And
And it's like you don't act like when you're in this field, you don't really act like a typical lady. It's like I don't like if he I don't know touches my knee, I don't take it as a sexual assault or whatever. So that's a thing,
Yeah.
is that
Yeah.
because nowadays it's very
It's very
pre-exposed.
blurred, yeah.
What we take as some kind of harassment, it's like your colleagues, you have to like keep each other's back, so you have to.
You're gonna
some
have
kind of-
contact
Yeah.
at some point, yeah,
some
I
kind of
know.
contact. So it's like, but
Yeah.
I've never had problems with any of them. So
Wonderful, that's really great. We need more of that. How many women do you believe are on the job? Let's say in our police department, how many?
well, to be honest, nowadays there are more. But like as people who graduated police academy, there are not that many. Like in Petric, I think we're just two.
Right, yeah,
But then if you have graduated from a law school, you can also become a police officer. So like after going through the procedures, and
Yeah,
stuff,
right.
you can become. So we have a lot of female colleagues that started with border police. Now they moved to national police because we have these different kind of like structures in Ministry of Interior. So I think we have like maybe 5, 6 women now in the police department, which is like a lot. When I started, I was the first one, and I was the only one for quite a while. So,
you kind of started that
Yeah.
one. Have you ever been to interrogations? Did they call you over to give expertise or to like observe somebody?
well, again, we don't call them interrogations, we call them interviews.
Okay.
Right, yeah.
Okay.
Sure, yeah.
So no, I was investigated for like 7 years, so I had to do them actually, not to
Yeah.
like, to actually have the interview.
Right.
And yeah, it's,
So what's your impression like comparing to before?
I never hit anyone with
Of
phone
course,
calls.
I don't imagine you would do that, but like.
No, okay, because like it's only like it's always interesting when people have this like idea about police, and this is how we get the statements, and this is how we get like people to talk. It's not always.
It's not always like that. I totally
Yes.
agree. There's people who do follow procedure. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I can tell you guys, I was at this interview in Biała Slatina, right? My colleague is calling me. He's like, we have this case for missing woman. I think her husband killed her. I was like, all right, send me the statement. Stop saying, because typically we don't want to receive information. So anything that they say, you go like, la, 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 just don't freaking talk, because you're gonna contaminate what I'm gonna do. And we go there. I don't know what this police station, like head of the police station, like thought when we arrived there. Maybe it was because of my boss, because he is a media known personnel. But he was like, you want coffee? Do you want this? I was like, let's first update the statement, and then we're gonna have coffee. And he's like, of course, sit down. And we're sitting down into a room with all the suspects, everybody. And we're sitting, I was like, are we gonna start at some point? Like, is somebody gonna leave the room? They're like, no, go ahead and take your statement.
We don't.
All of them.
All of them.
I was like, all right, but this is not how we do it. Like I'm trying to whisper and try not to look pissed off and panic, because at this point I am. And my boss is like, no, don't worry, this is how we do it here. He's like, hey, let me start. And it was a very bad idea, because he started. Then at some point, this guy was in the corner. They were threatening him, and they brought him back. Then, oh my God, at night he was getting, he was getting assaulted verbally. And I'm saying, I was like, why didn't I take my statement when I could have? So what? There was 20 people in there. I could have gotten something. No, this person is afraid. I go to speak to him. He's like that. He thinks I'm gonna hit him now. I'm like, no. I'm just like putting this here. you know, like, here, I'm gonna give you a sheet. That's what I was witnessing, but you know, this is probably not very often.
It's like, because normally this is what media present when it comes to like,
Movies
always,
helped.
yeah, it's always this
So
police
what-
officer hit that other person, like
Yeah.
beating them up or like whatever they did, and it's not always the case, but it's just how we are normally presented by the media.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. And I don't think it's fair, to be honest. I think there's a lot of people who work their asses off. It's very, it has to be acknowledged, you know, that some people follow procedure to the T,
for sure.
right? And just because a few people don't know how to talk, you know, to
And-
others in general.
No, but back to you, like to your expertise, because
Yeah.
normally as an investigator, you will have to take the statement, and people are like all over the place. It's like you have to kind of structure what
Yeah.
they're saying and put it like in order on a
Yeah.
sheet of paper. So it's not
Yeah.
because we are trying to like change things
Of
or
course.
like change the truth. It's just how you're trying to like make sense
Mm.
in the statement. And I don't know
Right.
how much it would like bother you when you have to read it afterwards, but it's just sometimes you have to do it. Otherwise, there is like, it makes no sense whatsoever.
Oh, no, definitely. Look, helping somebody to structure is one thing, but I've witnessed somebody is like, okay, right, my name is, and then I went to, I'm like, was this person gonna stop dictating at some point? Like, what the hell?
No, that's
Like,
well, they
give
do
him,
it in
like,
police stations.
Yeah, he was like dictating the whole thing, and then I'm gonna have to analyze his statement. Oh my God.
There are people coming, they're so worried, like, or they don't like, so they don't know how to actually like
Yeah.
put their statement into words. So
Yeah.
you're like, please, like, give me like a idea of what
Yeah.
what happened, and then we'll figure it out.
And then
And,
the police
and then
officer
you have to do this, like, so
writes the
now
report.
you went there, right? Yes, I did. So you put down on the sheet, I went there at what time? This time. I went there at this time, you know? It's not because you want to change, it's just because there is no other way for you to do your job.
I see. Yeah,
Especially
it's difficult.
if
Yeah.
there is a foreigner, not a Bulgarian. And
Yeah.
you just have to
Even,
write the
even when it
report.
comes to the Bulgarian citizens, it's just like they're so worried sometimes like they just,
I see.
not every person, like we have, sometimes you have to work with this part of the society that is not so well educated, and so you have to
Yeah.
figure out a way to put it in a sheet of
Yeah.
paper. So it's like they don't even have a way to sign it. You have to be like, so just put a cross here, you know, and let's go on.
Put your fingerprint.
Yeah. Sometimes you have to do it. It's like,
Yeah, no.
sign it. Well, I'm sorry, I cannot sign it because I don't know how.
Yeah,
So-
yeah. Oh my God, yeah, so it must be challenging, yeah.
So that's the challenges for us.
Yeah,
And then
exactly.
it transfers to you afterwards. probably.
Yeah, no, we do see the contamination. It's and in some cases it's warranted. In some cases you have to ask specific questions to get specific answers or statements on it. But in other cases, it's just like, what are you doing? Just let them write.
Yeah, for sure.
They're already writing, right? So it's very a case-to-case
Yeah.
basis, yeah.
Well, again, because there are police officers that are like, don't have the patience, they don't have the
Yeah,
will to go through the stuff. It's just like, let me just do it for you.
exactly, absolutely. Do you guys carry guns and?
I used to, since I am now on the border, I'm not allowed to because I'm considered working in another country, because it's actually like after crossing the border
Oh, right.
where our the building is situated, so I'm not allowed to wear them
I see.
anymore.
So they hand you the gun when you come back to our country. They're like, here you go.
No, I just gave it back, and I was like, I don't need it. So, because it's a responsibility to
Of
have
course,
to
of
hold
course,
it. I
definitely.
have like all kinds of like safety procedures. So I was like,
Sure.
I don't have to worry it. I don't need it. Just take it back, and whenever I need it back, you'll get it
Sure.
back to me. So
And Miroslava, do you do any martial arts for your job?
I
Do you
can.
use-
I
Yeah.
used to once upon a time when I was in the police academy. We were training on jiu-jitsu, and but it's like it stayed there.
Okay. So this is not
Luckily for me-
obligatory for you.
Luckily for me, when I like started working, I never needed to use it. So
This is
Yeah, hopefully you won't be,
yeah,
needing it.
hopefully not.
So
Because I
that's-
pretty much forgot everything I knew.
You got the impression of what it is like to work in the area of crime and police investigation. So is it interesting for you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you ever regret doing this job, choosing this job?
No, I never. I think that's something that I wanted to do since I was like, I don't know, 7 years old.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. I never dreamt of being like a princess or like a ballet dancer or whatever.
I wanted to be a
always
police
like-
officer.
I wanted to be a police officer. Because my mom was like, what happened? Like, I don't even know how you got the idea. I wanted to go to Australia and I wanted to be a police. Like, she was like, everyone wanted like to go to the States and then I'm like, no, I want to go to Australia. So-
Australia is much better,
Yeah.
right?
It's
Mary will tell
going
you.
there, I wouldn't.
So-
And New Zealand, if you can
I'm
come
going
by
to the
New
USA.
Zealand. Oh,
Hopefully one day.
yeah.
So have you been to Australia, Alex?
I have not to Australia, but I have a New Zealand citizenship. So
Oh,
I've
nice.
lived in New
Oh.
Zealand. New Zealand's a beautiful country, wonderful country, especially if you're young.
Mhm.
That's the country for you. People, beach people with like, almost no clothes on the streets and the banks. Everybody's so chill. Yeah, let's go have beer. Sure, barbecue. Why not? I don't know you, but who cares? Come over. Perfect. Really, really nice for young people. When you're with kids, it's it's a little difficult.
How did you end up in New Zealand then?
My first husband was a New Zealander.
Mhm.
So when we got married here at some point, we're like, let's just go there and explore life.
Mhm.
And, the fact that daycare costs around $800 to $900 per child.
It's very expensive.
Yeah.
It's really
Yeah, and we're like,
expensive.
okay,
Yeah.
we can't do that.
No.
As dangerous
That was
as
the
it is
reason
in
why I
Australia.
came back to
I
Australia.
think New Zealand is a tad calmer than Australia. What are you gonna say, Mary? New Zealand's very calm.
Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, there's gangs, there's people, there's crime, but but not too much because they're a very small country. I think they're like,
And
2,
they're
3 million.
isolated from Australia. So
Yeah.
they're just two islands. That's
Exactly,
it. Yes.
absolutely.
The North and the South Island.
yeah, absolutely, yeah. But it's nice
All the
place.
same poisonous snakes and like spiders and
Oh,
stuff.
No, not in New Zealand.
No,
That's
no.
cool.
In Australia, maybe yes. I know you guys have
Oh,
like
in the bush area, there are no
Yeah.
snakes in the cities.
no,
Yeah.
yeah, but no rattlesnakes around, like when you go hiking.
No. But it's
Like
just-
alligators,
No, but if you go
widow
to the
spiders,
bush
stuff like
where
that.
this is their typical habitat, of
Yeah.
course you'll come across a snake, but not in the cities.
That's why I'm
where
not
people
going to
live
anybody's
in an
typical
industrial
habitat.
city. So no worries about that.
Right, wow.
But-
And kangaroos, you've seen them? Oh, they're so adorable.
Yeah. But I've heard about New Zealand as the place for married couples where when they go on their honeymoons, they go to
Yeah.
New Zealand. They have the white sand beaches
Oh, yeah.
with the most luxurious resorts in New Zealand. And
Yeah.
it is the place where they shot the movie Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, Lord of the
that's
Rings
what
shot there. Yeah.
And that has always been my dream destination.
You
New
wanted to go to
Zealand.
the village?
Yeah, we did.
of the
That's a
Hobbit?
big, I
It's
didn't,
so
yeah,
adorable.
but I would do it one day.
Oh, yeah,
We
definitely.
should
You
go
have
to New
to.
Zealand. It's
Right.
a fascinating place with
Yeah.
the landscape.
Yeah,
the
and people are
varieties of
amazing.
landscape they
People are really
offer.
amazing. Yeah, I totally.
Then you came back to marriage. That's
Well,
interesting.
yeah, I know. I came back because first
Twist of life.
yeah, it's very interesting. I came back first because we couldn't afford to be there. I'm like, well, how are we gonna pay for the kids? We work basically just to pay for the kids, nothing
Yeah.
else.
Yeah.
And then we
Same
divorced.
situation.
So I was like, all right, I'm gonna stick around here for a while and then I'm gonna see what I'm gonna do. So for now, I'm here. But in the future, who knows? I always have the option to go there.
course.
When the kids are a little older, because it's too expensive there.
You can take care of yourselves.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're absolutely right. That was the reason why we came back from Australia. All my salary as a teacher used to go directly from my bank account into the kindergarten or the
Yeah.
preschool fees because it's very expensive to
Yeah.
to pay for your
Wow.
preschool
Why?
fees. You see, as a teacher, an English teacher in Brisbane, Australia, I used to be paid $125 a day for 5 classes. And my kindergarten fees were $112
Wow.
per day,
Yeah.
day. 75 for one of the children and 42 something for the other child.
How do
which
people
was-
survive there?
And then we couldn't survive. You see, we were
Really, you had jobs
trying to meet both ends together. We couldn't, and we decided to come back to Bulgaria so that the children will meet their grandparents. They will know the culture, the Bulgarian language, and then if they want to go back to Australia one day, they're Australian citizens. They can always do it.
That's wonderful.
yeah.
That is really, so they do actually have the right to also
Yes.
reside in New
They were
Zealand.
born
Right.
in Australia, so they are both have a dual citizenship,
yes.
so they can go.
So
back
you
there.
guys have Marmite and we, no, Vegemite and we have Marmite. This is
I
the
love
difference there.
Vegemite.
Do you like it?
Oh no, it was disgusting.
I
Yes.
know, everybody's
You
like.
don't know what we're talking
Yeah,
about.
yeah.
Vegemite. It's like marmalade made of veggies.
And
But
it's salty.
It's salty. It's really, oh, I don't know. It's like eating vinegar
Oh, nice.
Something
in the shape of a marmalade. You see,
with salt, right?
with salt. And the Australians, they like spreading Vegemite on toast and just have it for breakfast.
Okay.
Or
With
on a
nothing
banana
else.
slice. They put a Vegemite on a banana
On a
slice,
banana
and then
slice.
they have also, they like eating banana sandwiches, so like
Nice.
that.
And I've heard there's always been this like huge debate because in New Zealand they eat Marmite, which is like what is the difference? I have no
That
idea.
was made of oranges, orange marmalade. Yes.
Oh
But
my
it's too
God.
salty?
It's very salty. At first I saw it, I was like, hey, chocolate, you know. So I'm grabbing it with a big spoon and putting a full mouthful.
Oh,
I'm
no.
sitting there I'm like, oh my God. Yeah, you can't even drink water afterwards because it's got like very, like slightly chilly and salty, like
I
you're
know.
drinking the whole tap.
I know.
Sounds tasty.
It's horrible. And then like, you know, my husband's like, oh, what are you talking about? Like, this is what part of the national food.
I
I was like,
see.
that's the national
Yeah.
food?
Yes,
I was like, what else?
Yeah, like when I was a child, my mom used to put some lutenica, tomato sauce on a piece of
Well, that's
bread.
different.
Yeah, that's the same in Australia. Yeah, lutenica with piece of cheese on top. That was what I was brought up with. But
Yeah.
they put Vegemite on a banana slice, and this is how they raise their children in Australia. And this is like national dish.
Yeah, and pavlova. Pavlova is a national dish,
Pavlova,
right?
yes,
We
I
kind of
know.
like stall it a little bit. That's
I
not
see.
their national dish. In New Zealand, that's a beautiful dessert made out of egg whites with a lot of fruits in there.
Yeah.
Love it.
Amazing,
That
amazing.
was the best thing, maybe,
Yeah, that's, yes.
of all of their
I also-
desserts.
What about lamb chops, Mary? Did you
What
guys
is
have
it?
lamb chops?
I don't know what it is like.
It's like, I don't know. Well, first in New
Lamb
Zealand, because they have more sheep than people, they have like 50 sheep per one person.
I
So
know.
nobody's short of sheep. And, you know, everybody was like, oh, lamb chops, you know, that's like the national dish. I was like, oh, well, how do you prepare it? Like, well, we just throw it on the barbecue. I was like, all right, let me try it, you know, like it tasted weird, not like a lamb,
I see.
but like pig lamb. And I didn't like it. I was like, all right, that's not my cup
I
of tea.
have never tasted this one. I know that they also offered kangaroo meat, but it was too dry. It's like deer meat.
Right.
And so it was too dry to eat because
Ah.
it's a game meat. So
Of course.
that's why.
If you so unnatural for a foreigner, why would you eat a kangaroo?
Because they're quite common there. That's why there are plenty of kangaroos
For
jumping
foreigners,
around
like,
the
why the
area.
hell would you eat that?
I guess it's a thrill for Australians. They're very like, we have the All Blacks. What do you guys have? Like, what was the national rugby team?
What do you mean? The national rugby team?
Yeah, we have, New Zealand has the All Blacks and they're always, this like basically Macedonia and Bulgaria kind of a thing. Like, we
Yeah,
hate you,
originally mean
you
that-
hate us. We know that.
You mean?
Right, and so New Zealand is All Blacks, and I know every time they play against Australia, there's a lot of people in bars screaming, yelling and cursing, like die Aussies and everything like that.
Yes.
So I was wondering, what's the name of them?
Aussies, they call them Aussies, the Australians.
Right, right.
I don't know
Nothing to
the
do.
special name they call
I
it,
see.
but that was a long time ago, you see. We
Yeah.
left Australia in 2005. So
Right.
it's 17 years later, and I have lost the connection with
I see.
local culture.
Do
and
you
things.
do you miss it?
It's no, I don't. I don't. Yeah, I grabbed all the experiences I needed for my children, for myself as an English teacher. I came
Right.
here and I just tried to apply everything I learned there in history.
Okay. So you
And but now my children will probably start playing football, soccer in Australia.
Oh,
Both of them.
wow, wow.
Yes, now
a
they.
whole circle going
So
around.
maybe now it will be the time for them to go back to Australia. We'll follow them, so we'll be back there again. I don't know.
Wonderful, absolutely wonderful.
Yes.
What kind of children did you used to teach there? Like what ethnicities?
Well, I was teaching foreigners, English for English in a college. It was after tertiary. It was after tertiary further education. TAFE. TAFE.
Right,
Tertiary
right.
and further education after high school, and we had foreigners from Asia.
Yeah,
Most of the students who came to learn English in Australia were from Japan, China, India, not India, all of the neighboring
Asian,
countries, Malaysia,
yeah.
and
So I don't
it
imagine
was
like
a
Japanese people
great
going, "Yo, mate."
experience.
Yeah. Oh, that's the funniest thing. Yes, you've seen them, right? Asian people who were
Yeah.
born and lived in New Zealand or Australia, and they speak that's like the cutest thing ever.
You see, at the end of our 5-year stay in Australia, we had to either buy a house and stay there forever, or
Right.
come back to Australia. And we started thinking the pluses and the minuses, and we decided the best thing is to come back to Bulgaria so that our children will be like us, but not assimilated by the English Saxon culture. So I think that was the right decision we took.
I need to confirm that. I really respect that because I met a friend of mine that moved to UK like 10 years ago. Her daughter was born here. Both of her parents are Bulgarian. They moved there. And now she doesn't even speak Bulgarian. Her daughter. I was like, why? Why would you do that to your kid? It's like,
No.
I don't.
They must know their Bulgarian roots. This
Yeah.
is their mother
Exactly.
country, home
She's
country.
like, no, she's not Bulgarian. She's British. I was like, no, she's not. She has both parents Bulgarian. She was born in
Yeah.
Bulgaria.
And
She's
you
not,
know,
she's not British.
It's like a vicious circle. You work to pay to the preschool for taking care of your children, so you don't have time for your children to be with. So why is it worth working and living in a foreign country if you have no quality time for your children? So we decided this is not going to happen. So we came back to Bulgaria for my kids to get to know their grandparents, learn Bulgarian language, get Bulgarian upbringing. And now they are citizens of the world. If they want to go back to Australia, they can always do it.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
That is very great.
Yeah. So maybe we could go. Yeah, I know that Alex has got 2 children and they are at the age of 7
And 9.
and they need her as a mother. Also, Miroslava, how old is your daughter?
She's 10. She went to a birthday party. I'm free. I can stay as long as you wish.
We definitely enjoyed staying with you and the kids. Maybe taking advantage of this class with you. We're so lucky to have you guys, two of you in Petrich, not in Sofia, but in Petrich, and meet these courageous women, intelligent, who can give you a good role model for a job that is difficult to get in these males, predominantly males world. Yes. Because I just want to mention a Tradigastic one too. And she is interested into.
You'll be great for the forces. You'll be just amazing for them.
Also, Ivana is really courageous. Yeah. What do you want to be one day, Ivana?
Oh, I don't know.
She's not taking a decision now.
Actually, are you the youngest of the 3 of them?
No, rather it's
You will be in the 11th grade, you see? In the 10th grade, and you will be both in the 11th grade. So you haven't got much time to think about your future career.
We have time. I always say I do. Time is not enough every time for me.
I mean, just like Stanislava said, this is it's, if you know something, I just knew my mother wanted me to be a cardiologist because in the high school here, I was like biology and chemistry. I'm like, look, I'm just signing this up because I want to be able to go and get some blood work done and look at my blood work and find out if I'm dying from cancer. Okay. And she's like, no, if you're a cardiologist, that'd be wonderful. I was like, wonderful for who? Like, I don't want to do that. That's, that's not my thing. So I always knew all my class, they're doctors, in pharmacies and whatnot. I'm the only screw up. I'm just like, no, why did you do that to yourself? I'm like, shut up. I'm happy. So when you know,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you're gonna know what has a bigger pull on you when the time comes.
And like for that, you have to study history.
For what? For linguistics?
No, for the
Možda
policaj.
Oh, what? Stanisław will be able to tell you. I don't know.
I'm not sure what is like happening nowadays because they changed so much when I was going for the exams. It was like history, literature. There was like test for like a little bit of everything. There is also psychiatric examination. There is like medical examination. There is like a physical exam. So, but I don't know how it goes now. I think it's easier nowadays.
I think so.
Because I think you can also try with the. Is it like what do you have some exams now when you graduate, right?
What?
You have some exams now when you graduate high school.
Yeah, Bulgarian language,
So I think you
matriculation
can use
exams,
this
marks.
to I don't know. I'm not
Apply.
sure.
Yeah, for last 2
And,
years is on this way, but before in February I'm saying
Yeah, it used to be like very difficult to get there. Not that I'm bragging, it's like it was difficult to get there. Now it's like I think you can use those grades to apply. You should check.
I should.
Yeah, if you want to do that, of course.
Yeah, and I think they do that because every year there's a little students they're not interested about the
For sure.
Yeah,
'Cause it's like
and only 50% of all the students are just leave only in first year, and students are just 15% of everyone who just go there.
well, for sure, it's like when it comes to police, the thing is that again, if you are planning of becoming a rich person, that's not the career for you.
Yeah.
Neither this one.
Yeah, the salaries are just like not that
They're
high,
really
so-
underpaid for
Yeah.
what they put.
Really?
Yes.
Everything is
Yeah.
there, I think so this way.
But
Sure that, because it's like
yeah.
But also that, especially these fields.
if you want to go live in Sofia, for example, you want to be able to survive from the salary that you're getting as a police officer. It's like you have to, yeah.
Yeah.
This is a apology.
This is a good point to know, but you
Yeah.
will never be paid well if you work as a police officer.
And you
know.
have to work a lot, especially if
Yeah.
you're on a big city. It's like it's crazy hours,
Yeah.
24/7.
Damn.
I used to work here in Petric, and I wouldn't be able to come back home for 3 days because there is like a case that's happened, like someone was like killed or like something happened, and you have to go through so many procedures, and you have to like take statements from so many people. It's like for 3 days you're just typing or like doing around and running, doing stuff. So it's like you work crazy hours for no money. So
But you like your job, that's the.
no, I do. I love my job. That's why I never ever thought of becoming something else even afterwards, because a lot of my colleagues already quit police and started doing something else. But it's just something that I've always enjoyed doing. So, but that's the thing, you have to love to do it. Otherwise, it's not worth it.
Yeah,
Is
that's
that
the
what they're doing?
point. And that was the reason why I wanted to meet you with Alex and Miroslava today, because they're really devoted to what they're doing because they love it. You see? So just follow your heart. That's it. Don't listen to the others. If you think of your hobbies and turn your hobby into a job.
It's not that easy because in everyone's life, it's one moment that you have to be against your dreams and reality.
That's true.
And
Oh,
that is
If
maybe
it
the
turns
most
out,
awful thing, because you think all your dreams dying in the name of stupid reality that is not
You need
actually
money. Right.
Yeah, that you need money, not what you love or something like that.
I know, I totally get you. But you know what? You know what I've noticed when I'm working with a variety of people. I always notice people who like to do their job. It's like so visible, it's so obvious.
Yeah,
You know,
it is.
because they sit down and they start working with you and you can see like they're eager, they have passion for this. And you know you're gonna be able to produce something with this person as opposed to like,
mhm,
Yeah, just do it,
all right.
whatever.
yeah. So
All right,
we
yes,
get all
yes,
that.
yeah. Oh my God, look alive, human.
We are going to
Right.
see that every day in school, because some people
Yeah.
are really born to be teachers and a leader.
I
to
totally agree with
someone,
them.
to teach someone about and giving a lot of things to learn, but the others are just, what the hell, why I'm here?
Exactly. I know what you mean.
Why I'm here?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, there are people like that in every profession, I guess. I do believe for your psychological well-being, it's very important that, just like Mary said, you choose something you like to do, because you're gonna do this other job for money. Don't get me wrong, you're gonna do it about 5-10 years before you start losing it, and then, you know, start going to a freaking psychiatrist and like drinking, whatever. I've seen many people like that. So do something you like. You maybe get a little bit of money in the beginning, right? Not so many. But if you're a professional, I can guarantee you're not gonna be there for a long time on this first step. You're gonna go up because you see, people need you in order to not do anything around you, right? They need you to do everything because you're competent and they can just relax. So they want people like that. It's not impossible to go up the thing. You just need to, just be aware that you're gonna have to sacrifice a few things in the first couple of years, 3 years or whatever, and that's it. But at the end of the day, like when you have, for example, a case, and we had a very cute case, and this doesn't happen with us. It's always murders and blood. And there was this one woman, and she's coming with her daughter and her daughter's boyfriend. She's like, I don't know who took the money. I don't know. I had $5,000 in the house. I don't know who took them. And now I'm worried it's my daughter's boyfriend. I cannot trust him now. I'm worried for her, So she's sitting there, smoking cigarettes. We interview the daughter. Parasitic speech. Then we go and interview the boyfriend. We come back with like, none of them got it. Relax. And she was so happy. She brought in, coffee and Coke and cookies. And yeah, this is one of these cases, because you typically don't see any victim family bringing coffee and cookies, It's not what you expect, but that was a cute case.
Mary?
Okay, let me okay, so maybe this is gonna be the end.
Yeah.
Because their mothers, as I told you, they need to go and take care of their children.
It was very nice meeting you,
Thank
girls.
you very much.
All the best of luck with whatever you guys decide to do. I'll be very happy if I see one or all of you on TV, solving a case, whatever else you decide. Very nice meeting Stanislava.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mary,
Yeah,
for
thank you.
the wonderful
Thank you.
invitation. It was a pleasure.
Yeah. Thank you for being my guest. I really enjoyed listening to what you're doing. That was quite valuable information for all of us.
Right.
And I will share you the recording.
Oh, wonderful.
Share
That'll be
with your
wonderful.
friends, and maybe we can think of future collaboration
Sure.
with the police and you in the
Absolutely.
future.
Absolutely.
Many people need to know you, and you
Yeah.
should be proud of your achievement.
They need to know my discipline. That's what I always say. My discipline is what I want to know, not me. I don't care if people know me. It's actually better when they don't know.
Thank you
Back
very
to what you
much.
said, I had people waiting for me outside my door when I went to work. So it's like,
Yeah.
in a small town, they know you. It's like, you go
Yeah.
out and there are people waiting for you. And
Yeah.
welcome to my case.
I know. It's like that in the small city. I just don't know. I think I hide very well, so people don't know me.
Yeah, I don't know much about you, by the way. That's
Yeah.
why I wanted to get to know you a bit
Oh,
more.
that's great.
Because Alice has
Thank you,
really
thank you.
interesting children.
Why don't you go ahead and write your contact here, like an email or something? And if we have,
There
yeah.
must be somewhere.
if we have this event is probably gonna happen somewhere in the second half of September, this
Okay.
seminar.
Mhm.
We're anticipating to have police being trained prosecutors if they want, because prosecutors are a different type of people where they're like, you're not gonna tell me how do I do this.
They don't normally do interviews, so.
Right. And we're gonna probably have these. We're gonna have people from the Blue Room, which is great because they conduct interviews and we are able to detect sexual language and if a person is being sexually assaulted. Thank you. And a lot of variety of things. So it's gonna be a 2-day seminar. First day, I believe it's gonna be my colleague because this is how we arrange it. He opens it up and then I continue with the second day with linguistics. So I'm gonna let you know if you can attend because the municipality is paying. And this is what I told him. I was like, come on. They're like, it's too expensive. I'm like, it's 2,000 leva. Freaking, you can train your whole police station, prosecutors and everything. Typically when they come to Sofia, it's 400 leva a person.
I
Right?
know.
Yeah.
And if the municipality is paying for that, why don't you
I'm like,
invite
oh my
as many
God.
people as you
Right.
can?
I'm like, what are you talking about?
Well, normally it's.
Yeah, I know. They're like, "Well, we have a budget,
Yeah.
like the roads, like what roads? What roads? See me in my car, I'm vibrating everywhere. What roads are we talking
know,
about here?
So when
Once you're
will
not
the,
driving.
Yeah,
when will the event take place? Where?
we don't know yet. We're thinking maybe in the big hall in the municipality.
Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
they are. Okay.
Which would
That
be
also
great.
depends on the coronavirus. so-
Yeah, depends on, yeah.
But
We're-
actually you can do it also on Zoom, so you don't have to meet.
I don't know how many people from police are gonna be okay or able to open Zoom and attend.
Come on.
Yeah, right.
They don't.
We're gonna have like maybe a couple, maybe just three lava
Gosh.
counts.
But
She's like, I represent the police.
Yes, need to click on the link in the Zoom link in Viber and just become
The good thing
attendee.
about police department in Petric is now they're getting like a lot of younger, like new personnel, which is
That's great, yeah.
But the other ones, like I don't even think they know what Zoom is. So
I see.
I don't want to like.
Yeah, no,
This is
definitely.
sad.
Thank you,
But
but it's like-
no, Alex is here in Patrick, so
Yeah.
they can go to
Yeah.
the municipality
Yeah.
hall and just attend something that will make their work
That's
much more
amazing,
rewarding and
Yeah,
beneficial to their victims.
Yeah, I hope.
Yeah.
oh yeah, definitely. I really hope that it's gonna happen. If it does, I'm gonna let you know definitely. And yeah, let's see. how
Will it be in Bulgarian language or in
It'll be
English
in
language?
Bulgarian.
Well, I mean, if it's in English, then no one is coming.
That one is coming, yeah, absolutely.
And
That-
can
that
we
would be an
also
issue.
attend this meeting? Will it be
Well,
allowed?
I will definitely ask who can come over because it's gonna be dumb if a variety of people cannot use this, but maybe they're gonna restrict it to police
Yeah,
personnel
I
and
thought
like
so.
whatever. I don't know. But if there is any possibility, I'll definitely let
Okay,
you guys
let us know,
I'll be like, these are your
you
future
wanna-
colleagues here,
Yes,
okay?
Yeah.
Can they just
Future
come over and
colleagues,
just listen
yeah.
to this?
Okay, thank you very much. And
Thank
I
you,
hope
guys.
to have another meeting with all of us together.
Oh,
on a different
definitely.
occasion.
You're not a forensic linguist if you don't take back your unicorn. That's really the thing.